Jonathan.
Well, John Beliein looks like he's not going to be staying in Cleveland much longer. The news broke last night during the All-Star game. I don't think they even mentioned it. A Woj bomb.
Yeah.
That.
Well, it's Sham Charania, I think, that had the original report.
That Beliein was talking to Kobe Altman before the break and maybe realizing that the NBA is not for him. Maybe getting Andre Drummond was the last straw. Just kidding.
No, it would be for me. Are you kidding? What am I supposed to do with this guy?
Yeah, the complete opposite of what John Beliein basketball is. And anyway, it is a surprise in one aspect because it's during the season, and he did sign a 5-year contract that was very lucrative. And we all knew. Like, I remember, when it happened, it was like, oh my, because it was during our shows. Like, you got to be kidding me. And we thought the NBA is not for him. But I said, you know what? People want a challenge of coaching it or playing, doing anything at the highest level. Whether it'll work or not, he's not a screamer or a yeller, so it might work, and it just hasn't worked. Part of that, probably most of it, is because the team blows, number one.
Well,
and the other thing is, they don't take too kind to the college way anymore.
The problem that they had is they should have gotten rid of the veterans who are stuck in their ways and don't want to evolve, don't want to adapt. Tristan Thompson makes almost $20 million a year. Tristan Thompson. Mm-hmm. You think he wants to go in there and figure out how to pass better or dribble better? He should, but he's not going to want to. Kevin Love, stuck in his ways, doesn't want to be in Cleveland. He wants to go play for a contender. Right. You saw that. They should have shipped those guys out of town because they were going to poison it for the Darius Garlands, the Colin Sextons of the world, who they actually really could use some help.
Right.
There's so many guys in the NBA that go play 1 year of college ball. They don't develop any fundamentals. They just go out there and play, and then they go to the NBA and they got to learn a brand new game, and their skill development is slow. They're not. Kids aren't going to college for 4 years and then they come to the NBA and they're game ready. They're ready to go out there on the floor. So it actually can help younger players. A guy like John Beliein working on those things, improving your shooting motion. There's a reason that some of these players, like a Duncan Robinson, these examples of guys who had the best time of their career was when John Beliein was coaching them. And some of them haven't been able to take that elsewhere and do it. But it's proof that Belein's methods do work. I think he has a bunch of guys in that locker room that don't want to do it that way.
Right.
The only other thing that I found interesting, I guess, as far as the story is concerned, I think it was on The Athletic. Sham Charania wrote a lengthy piece on it. But his son, you remember Patrick Beliein. And
oh, yeah.
We don't know what the deal is, but stepped away from the Niagara job before he coached a game for personal reasons. I think in the statement when he stepped away, he said something along the lines of, he needed to work on himself or be the best version of himself. So who knows, what's going on there. But it is interesting that in the report, Beliein, he didn't mention it, but that was something that was alluded to, meaning you wonder if that is something that's affecting, Beliein at that level personally.
It's possible because no matter what anybody says, college basketball and pro basketball are two different sports.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look, I thought, and many people, he wouldn't really address it. Part of the reason he left the University of Michigan and the college game in general was he got sick of recruiting, he got sick of the transfer portal and all that kind of, and I don't blame him. For a coach, it's tough to sit there and suck up to kids as early as when they're 15, 16 years old and to play that game. And, Beliein never really wanted to play the game, and it was obvious because they never really got – except for what Mitch McGarry was his highest star recruit that he's ever gotten, which shows you what kind of really good coach he is to do what he did there. Mm-hmm. But the odd thing is, to me, is that he might step down now as opposed to at the end of the season. What's the point?
Clearly they just miss. They're just not even remotely on the same path of communication, of going in the right direction. And look, Beliein went to the NBA because he just wanted to focus on basketball. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry. I think there's a lot of guys in the NBA, and I love the NBA, but there's a lot of guys that aren't just focused on basketball and aren't focused on what it actually takes to get better. If there's something that these current players can learn from, Kobe Bryant's passing, I know it's been a while now, stop talking about it. Play harder.
Yeah.
Work harder. You know, and I do think there's a lot of guys that want to be great. They don't want to put in the time when no one's watching and no one's looking. And I think John Beliein brings that to the table. If they didn't want to connect with it or do it that way,
shame
fine.
on them.
Yeah, 100%. I absolutely think he could have helped their careers because the Cavs weren't winning anything.
Right.
It was about individually getting better, and maybe it resulted in some better play and better style on the floor. But it was literally about developing young players.
And they're going to have another high pick again this year. So they're building their assets.
The Cavs come off as spoiled little brats. Let's just be honest. No matter the fit, I get it. Beliein ran into these issues with Trey Burke when he was at Michigan. And that was probably his best player those 2 years. Trey was just unbelievable. But they weren't, from a personal standpoint, they were very not similar at all.
Right.
Okay. And so maybe that was kind of the foreshadowing of what it was going to be in the NBA. But he can still offer you something as a basketball player. For them to not be able to somehow make that work, that's unfortunate.
Our telephone number is 248-539-9797, 97136 on the ticket text. Coming up after T.O.'s update, some lawmakers are trying to pass a new law. We'll see if we like it coming up next.